I think like the average guy in my queue is just someone that goes to work. They've got a wife, maybe a couple of kids, and like sex is the most interesting thing they've got in their life. So I completely
Of course, they have
agree.
nothing else interesting to do, you know. But I have other very interesting things to do. But yeah, so I'm not an overly sexual person, I would argue, and I'm glad I'm not, because if I was overly sexual like Diddy, I'd be fucking toast by now. Imagine that 4 different federal agencies for 5 years of investigating, and they managed to find all. They couldn't find anything. They couldn't find any fucking orgies. They couldn't find anything. They're like, okay, we found a couple girlfriends, and he had sex with them, and then they had sex with him like 100 times, and they're saying one of the times he didn't buy him a handbag, so it's rape. Like, even their cases are shit. They can't even build a case.
Like, look at, do you see her? Yeah. Look at how much he's letting him. I love talking. This is why I'll never have that, like, top tier feminine, you know? It's kind of like the person that never made it out of the rec league, but is very good at analyzing the NBA. I feel like that's me. Because I'm a talker, you know, and somehow people like to listen, you know. But I'll tell you what, in dating, that does not... Men don't want a monologue on a date. I'll tell you that. I will... Can you imagine you take me out and I just start monologuing about something? Yeah, okay.
Case on me. I'm not overly sexual. So if I was, I'd be in jail. Which again, let's analyze this. This is truly hypocritical and insane that we live in a society which is overly sexualized. But then if you're a man who is overly sexualized, the second you do something they don't like, they use your over-sexuality against you. Look at Russell Brand. He was the poster boy of degeneracy. He was drug taking, running around all over TV, flirting with every single girl he met on television. Channel 4 were dragging girls up from the crowd to go flirt with him. He was seen as a playboy. It was funny. It was promoted. And now that he talks anti-vaccine, they're using it against him to try and put the guy in jail. So we're living in a society which is over-sexualizing everyone and then randomly picking and choosing the people they don't like who talk about something unrelated to sex.
It's not random.
Politics.
Is it really random?
Well, it's not random.
No.
They're choosing the people who talk about things unrelated to sex, usually politics, and using the sexuality against them. So they're making everybody guilty of a crime at the base level. Everybody is born guilty, the original sin, and then randomly jailing the people, not randomly, choosing and jailing the people who do other things they don't like. So it's completely unfair to Russell to promote a young man to take drugs and be sexual and then use it against him later. And it's completely unfair to convince women to go out and be sexual and make a bunch of money from it like Bonnie has and use it against her. What I'm saying is that society has put us here. We are exactly where we deserve to be. Bring the asteroid. The fuck? This is where we are now. This is where we are. And the only reason I'm not overly sexual, truthfully, is because I see it for what it is and I don't really want to partake too much. And it's literally saved my life. Or I'd be in jail right now. And what would I have done wrong? Nothing. Is there anything wrong with 4 or 5 women? No. If they all want to, what's wrong with it? Nothing.
Yeah, I think as long as everything...
I'll be honest. Is baby oil illegal? I mean, we talk about it all the time.
Was hard to buy for a while in the shops, though.
No, well, we talk about it all the time like it's evidence of crime. I'm not defending Diddy. I don't even like him. I'm saying, he had baby oil. Okay, where's the crime? He f***ed all these women. Where's the crime? Oh, he had another man f*** his girl. Where's the crime? Where's the crime?
Because society, what they're trying to do, and I don't know the Diddy case super closely, so I can't really speak too much to it. But basically, society doesn't like when women spend their youth on men. And they will punish men that, like women punish men that they use their youth on and get nothing out of it.
Consensual.
There's no crime. But people are so stupid. Look, he had a bunch of sex, jail. That's not how it works. We're telling people to have a bunch of sex. We're encouraging people to have a bunch of sex. We're telling women to have a bunch of sex. We're telling men to whoever.
Yeah, so again, I don't like that language, right? We're telling them, and I'm sure how closely can you listen to everything you say, right? But nobody's telling that women want to do it. And we have to get away from this narrative that women are not sexual. Women are very sexual. I would argue, maybe more sexual than men. So.
Whoever they want and not have kids. This is what we're telling people to do, and then we're saying it's against the law when the person does something they don't like. It's a false dichotomy we live in.
It's not feminism, guy. It's not. Look at women are picking the party over marriage. That's what it is. And it makes perfect sense when you think about it. You can be 22 and hot, and you can meet people that you will never get the opportunity to meet in your life. You can meet celebrities. You could get invited to all the biggest events. You can meet billionaires, millionaires, or you could go have a kid. Trads romanticize having a kid. Kids are very fulfilling, but they change your life a lot. And everybody I know, and I got to be honest, guys, everybody I know that's had a lot of kids has told me to have less kids. And the people that monetize off of their families and like the trad con stuff, I mean, they'll say have kids, whatever. But like the day-to-day stuff is mundane, and people have to really decide if they want to do that. I don't think everybody's cut out for it. I actually don't think it's the worst thing that the birth rate is falling, because a lot of women would be terrible mothers. I used to think it would be the worst thing ever. But I realized it's kind of a fear tactic, because I had an economist on my show, and he just said it wasn't as big of a deal as people. You don't want like it to fall as low as it is now, but I don't know if I'm rambling a little bit, but I will say it like this. I think there are women that could be good mothers and women that would be terrible mothers. I am not for women that would be terrible parents having children just to increase the birth rate. I don't want to live next to their kids. I don't. A woman without kids, I'm not turning to left of a leftist. Okay, do I want these I just did a show on homeless single mothers. I did a reaction on them. Do I want these women having children? I don't. Why do we have to pay for your children? Why? Yeah, I want women that would be good mothers to have kids. Well, I'm not here to tell you what to do, but I would prefer. But I mean, some of these women, and to be honest, I'm not even against, we had a crackhead show. So if you guys got a woman pregnant and then you got the kid, that'd be amazing. But you get these crackhead women that get pregnant, or these evil women that get pregnant, and then they steal the kids, Women without kids can still help raise kids as part of the village. Do you know what? I was thinking about this village thing. I think that's something when women say that they used to have a village, I think that's something women say to get out of work. And I'm not saying I'm right about this. I'm kind of spitballing here. But when I hear that it takes a village, I think back to what would life be like in the 1800s, and the woman was at home. I mean, maybe I got something historically inaccurate here, but the women used to have 10 kids, and they would just watch them at the house, and maybe grandma would come or whatever, but it was really the husband, the wife, and their kids, and they would work on a farm. You're telling me it takes a village to raise 2? I mean, my grandma had 13. Where are these villages going to be? Because I didn't grow up knowing my neighbors. Maybe you guys did. I don't see villages coming back anytime soon. Yeah, they would have kids. The kids were working at 10. That's true. They would work on the farm. And then the older kids, I guess, would help watch the younger kids. But I mean, do you guys put your thoughts in the chat? Do you really think it takes a whole village for 1.2 kids that we're having?
It saved my life that I didn't do it. Thank fuck. No blowjob that good. Jesus Christ. I'm glad I'm boring.
Until me.
Do you see that? Men love that. They do.
Bonnie, I know you would never cry, but somehow I'd end up with a human trafficking charge for touching you. I don't know. They'd say,
I mean,
I forced you to do it. Nah.
All of our communication has been, you're right. And it's been, I'd have sex. I want to have sex with you. That's what she's communicated this whole convo. Way better girl game than Lila. Way better. Way more likable. Like, I honestly think I would sit down and hang out with Bonnie Blue way easier than I did with Lila.
No.
People always say I belong in prison. Like when I see like TikToks like, how is she not in jail? She's a predator. She's a groomer. And I'm like, everyone is 18. They're consenting to it. And I'm like, how the fuck am I meant to get arrested for that? And if you're saying that's promoting culture, then how confusing is that for the younger generation? Because if they're thinking consensual sex is rape, how many more times are they going to cry when that was also consensual? Because if you're saying I'm a rapist and I prove all the time everything's consensual and above board, then how confusing is that for the younger people?
Well, you're not a rapist, one. And two, consensual sex now currently under the law is because a woman can remove consent post-action because she's unhappy with how the relationship turned out. So all consensual sex ends up being once the woman's upset.
Okay, I've got some really good advice for you. Next time you fuck a girl, make sure the Birkin is ready. No court cases.
Then there's going to be another Birkin and another Birkin. But no, you're right. This is the world we live in now. And it's very difficult and hard to be a man now. And that's why most men are actually just checking out and giving up on women by and large.
Maybe
you see a lot of men, do you think it's hard being a man?
Yeah, for sure. They get so much stick and women are so protected now. I'm not saying that's for everything. Like there is loads of women crime. There is loads of women being murdered. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. But men's mental health is, women do nothing to it to help it. And then women are the ones that talk about everyone should be happy and positive.
And notice how her vocal tone is lower. And it's like she's talking slower, more smooth. Yeah.
It's women that sit there on.
It does not take a village. It takes time and attention. Parenting is not hard. Dealing with other parents is hard. You just have to be willing to focus on your little ones and consider them in every move.
Their couches with the 2 kids in a council house making TikToks and videos. Instead of thinking, right, I'm going to better myself. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go and get a job so I can help be independent. They don't care. They just do all of their life. And men have to work so hard. So yeah, I want to pleasure them. Yes, I want to make them feel happy. Couldn't give a shit if their wives having to go to bed crying except it was their husband.